All I'm saying is I'm not impressed. They should have called your ass Phineas and Ferb. But anyway, what's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. And guys, I want to take a little bit of time here to talk about John Boyega. Now, the story came out last week that John Boyega was kind of implying that after everything is done with the rise of Skywalker, he'll be free to talk about how he really feels about how Disney Lucasfilm has gone about this storytelling and all the things they've been doing and his character and all this stuff, which I say to this, I says, bullshit. I says he won't be doing anything of the sort. And actually, I kind of feel like the last story that I did kind of proves it, because if Finn is going to be in more Star Wars movies, as that last article kind of implied that he may be, I don't think that John Boyega is going to be available anytime soon to talk about how he feels about the goings-on and the workings behind the scenes at Disney Lucasfilm. However, let's say he does. All right, I have this to say about Finn, or Phineas. Listen, I talked about this on past videos before. Finn is a very, very raw topic for me because my son actually gravitated towards his character after The Force Awakens. Now, you have to understand, my son was into Star Wars heavy, all right, heavy. At the time of The Force Awakens. All right, so he was loving the original trilogy. Man, he really loved the prequels. I mean, he really loved all of it. You know what I'm saying? And he was very, very passionate about it. He watched all the movies. He watched all the cartoons. He watched the Lego cartoons. He got all the Lego sets. He got all the action figures. He dressed up. He wanted to be like Finn. You know what I mean? He thought that he was funny. He thought that he was brave and all that good shit. All right? Now, my son just loved Finn's character, okay? My son is not one of those pathetic kids who doesn't have a role model in his life. You know, like, he's not going to desperately cling on to Finn because he's absent a positive male role model. And that's a lot of the problem that's in the black community right now, because a lot of us want to see that representation so badly because we don't have it in our own day-to-day lives. And that is a problem, all right? And I'm saying that as a person who loves the community from which he comes. But this is the truth, all right? We wouldn't be so desperate to see someone who always looks like us up on the screen if we had real life, true to life heroes in our day-to-day lives. Not saying that there's not true to life day-to-day heroes in the black community. There are plenty. But I'm just saying the ones that the SJWs choose to weaponize are the ones, unfortunately, that are in unfortunate upbringings and environments where they don't have those things. All right, so the SJWs, the NPCs, they like to use these people to further their own political gain by exploiting the position that they're in. All right, so my son is not one of those, all right, because he has a father who's dedicated and committed to giving him the best possible role model, being, you know, an imperfect man like I am. I mean, I make so many mistakes per day. And my son, being the wise ass that he is always there to point it out. Dad, you said a man is true to his word, Dad. Okay, I'll take you to get an ice cream cone, you know what I mean? But the point is that he gravitated towards Finn because he just loved the character. He enjoyed him. He thought he was fun. All right. And unfortunately, as of The Last Jedi, he felt very much betrayed and let down. And I did a video on that, you know, probably like maybe a couple of years ago now, where he admitted that he had a major problem with The Last Jedi. He turned off the Star Wars after that because what he saw can no longer be, it can't be unseen. You know what I'm saying? So he saw Luke drinking the titty milk, which made my, at the time, 9-year-old son very uncomfortable. You know what I mean? He saw Luke not want to get into the battle. He saw Luke betray his sister. He saw Finn, you know, get up off a table, gushing all types of semen. I don't know what the hell that was, you know, all over the place. He didn't appreciate it. You know what I mean? I didn't appreciate it either. But the point is that he was betrayed by the character of Finn. And for John Boyega, all I can say is this, my man. I know you signed the dotted line, all right? I know you're under contract. There's only so much you can say. There's only so much you can do. You're an actor. It's not your fault. However, you, my friend, had to go the extra mile, and on Twitter, you had to be the one who said, "We don't care," all right? When the fandom was being critical of what they were seeing on the screen. All right, you were the one who had to jump on the Kelly Marie Tran bullshit bandwagon when Kelly Marie Tran herself wasn't even saying anything. But it had to be you, John Boyega, who had to be insulting to the fans. Even though you know damn well, if you have one cell of sense in your brain. You know damn well that your character was very poorly written. It's like you're an actor, okay? And from what I've seen, you're a charismatic actor. Yes, you are. You're a talented actor. You must know that you weren't given the character arc that you should have had for that character. Now, I know that you're working in front of a green screen and all that stuff, John Boyega, but at the same time, you have to draw from something. And what was your motivation when you were playing Finn? All right, because basically what Disney Lucasfilm did was they gave us an updated version of a runaway fucking slave, a Sambo, if you will. That's what we were given. We were given somebody who was taken at an early age to become a killer, a stormtrooper. He was trained, and because you are a minority, all right, you were pushed out front. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, in order to put another feather in J.J. Abrams' cap, they referred to people like you and Rosemary Tran and Kelly Marie Tran and who's the other one? The one in Solo, you know, the chick with the afro. I don't know what her name is. I'm not going to get into that now. But anyway, you know, they chose to exalt and lift up people like you and put you out front. All right, but deep down inside, you were done a great disservice. Like, here I am, I'm not a paid writer or anything like that, but even I can see that a character that is true, all right, and honest, like Finn, might just have a moment where he thinks about his origins, because your story, your character's story, is no less tragic than Rey's character's story. All right, so if Rey can be torn, if she can be seen on screen wondering what's up with my parents, then how the hell, John Boyega, is your character not wondering about his origins and where he came from? If he knows he was taken from a certain place, a certain planet, a certain people, you think that he might want to liberate those people. All right? This is what a writer who has respect for his so-called minority characters would do. But no, because they see you as a fucking runaway slave who just has one role, and that's to show how diverse this place is and how diverse Disney Lucasfilm is, then you don't get that consideration. You don't get that story. You don't get that respect. And as a result, the people who are sitting in the audience, like my son, don't get that respect. All right? And even at 9 years old, even at 8, even at 10 or 7, or whenever these kids go in there, they're picking up on this. They're seeing this. All right? Your character could have been so dynamic. It's like you are an ex-stormtrooper who ran away, a trained killer who was enslaved, which means he comes from an enslaved people. All right, the rebellion, the resistance, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is about liberation. It's about freedom. This could have been the definition of at least one chapter of your so-called trilogy. This could have been like a solid subplot rather than fucking Canto Bite. And even if you were going to do Canto Bite, I've said it before, it's like, what would have been wrong with having your character of Finn, dress up like a socialite? All right, and also have the character of Rose Tico also dress up like a socialite. At least we could have seen through Finn's eyes why he might be attracted to this woman, because she was frumpy and dumpy throughout the whole movie. But what if they had her get dressed up and she steps out, she's in heels, she's looking all hot. Now all of a sudden we're just like Finn. We're like, oh my gosh, talk about Cinderella. You know what I mean? Now, all of a sudden, you have a little bit more depth to the character. You understand why they might be attracted to each other and drawn to each other. But no, they just throw you together and they have her kiss you like at the most inopportune time when you're both about to get blasted to hell and everything, just because. You know, it makes no sense whatsoever. All right, as the narrative, the storytelling, it was all shit, John Boyega. And if you're thinking anything other than that, I'm not interested in hearing what you have to say when this is all done. But as it turns out, we have Mark Hamill, who just can't keep his mouth closed, and I respect him so much for that because he's more passionate. He's been in it, like 3 times as long as you have? You know what I mean? So it's not going to sit right with him, and it's going to show, all right? But John Boyega, people like you and, Adam Driver, you don't hear him saying anything, Daisy Ridley, all the new cast and crew, they're not going to say anything. They're going to toe the line because, let's face it, I know you're intimidated by the Disney Lucasfilm machine. You're intimidated by Kathleen Kennedy. You probably signed all types of papers out the ass, so there's not much you can say. but I'm saying it, all right? And I would appreciate it, John Boyega, if you kept your fucking mouth shut when you hear the fandom menace speaking truth, because that's what we're doing. And you people, you see this, all right? All of you who are involved with this new trilogy bullshit, it's like you see what the true fans are going through, all right, on Twitter every single day. The least you could do is shut your mouth. Don't join it. All right, if you can't say anything that's supportive, if you can't say anything, especially when you know it's true, then don't say anything. But that whole we don't care business, you know, that whole commenting on people, you know, dumping so-called on Kelly Marie Tran, stay out of it, my man. All right, because something tells me you know exactly why we're taking a stand. Just like Mark Hamill knows it, just like Harrison Ford knows it, just like Peter Mayhew knew it, just like Carrie Fisher, God bless her, probably knew it. Who knows what the kind of stress and the pressure that she was under, you know, because she is so opinionated, you know. So Mark Hamill, what he's saying is nothing compared to what Carrie Fisher probably would have been saying if she was still around. So that is my only request of you, John Boyega. All right? One day, may you be free to speak your mind like a grown man. But until then, I would ask you to be quiet and let the fandom menace do what the fuck we have to do. And that's get our Star Wars back. One way or another. Alright guys, that's it. Let me know how you feel about this. You can get at me in the comment section. You can like, you can share, you can subscribe. And when you subscribe, hit that damn notification button so YouTube, you know, it kind of balances shit out, man. Anyway, you can catch me on Twitter. And I will catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.